This is Jason, and why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here?
My name's Jason Doyle. I work for Central Services, which is city and schools maintenance, project coordinator, and had a large part to do with, I like to think, getting the solar panels on the roof here at JFK.
And how long have you been doing this here?
7 years I've been employed with the city. Been getting into project management more or less the past few years.
All right, what interested you to get into this field of work?
I kind of started as an electrician's apprentice and got into HVAC, and from there building management. And so I'm kind of just going with the flow, really, I suppose.
All right.
Yeah. Today what we have is 33 panels, consist of solar array. It's a 9.9 kilowatt system, which is about the biggest system we could put in for the money available. And pretty much create DC power and convert to AC power back into the grid.
Well, how does it work exactly? Tell us, because some of us don't know much about solar energy.
Another word for the solar panels would be photovoltaic.
Mm-hmm.
And you pretty much take the photons from the sun's energy into a silicone-based panel. You then create, without getting too crazy, excess electron, therefore you got current flow in the form of direct current. Proceeds down a wire into what they call an inverter. The inverter that converts the DC voltage over to alternating current, which is what we use here. And that therefore feeds back into the grid. We meter it, so we know how much we're generating, and we get a credit for that.
Are there many schools in the area that have this sort of thing?
And this is definitely the largest. We have some panels up at the Northampton High School as well. Those are more or less tied into science projects. And to be honest, kind of when they turned the building over from the renovation, they almost got overlooked somewhat, and they're not too functional. But that's another step we're looking at doing, is getting those back into where everyone knows what they're doing, how they're operating.
And why did
Bring them
people
back
even
online,
think to do this?
essentially. Save some energy, save on using combustible fuels, and just the technology. It's steadily growing, and it's kind of in the early phases, really. They're looking at doing some pretty big things with it. So staying on board with that and keeping up with it.
And how much of the school is it used for? What percentage would you say?
It's about 1% of the school,
Mm-hmm.
total annually. I figure maybe 8 classrooms.
Mm-hmm. So how much money do you think you save by having it here?
That's hard to put a number on. In our reality, maybe $5,000 a year,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what the going rate is for electricity, which it's been up there lately. So.
Right.
Yeah, what you're looking at is pretty much you got your DC power coming down from the roof. That goes in a cutoff switch. Your DC power goes into these 2 inverters. This one creates it over to AC power, which we use. Feeds back, you meter it, and then back into the grid. And we get a rebate for what we're generating ourselves. About a $94,000 project for the install alone. And you add another $6,000 for engineering. You get up there in money. And it was all funded, a majority of it, about half of it was funded through CEC money, which is Clean Energy Choice, which is the residents of Northampton choose to pay a little more on their utilities, and therefore we accumulate that. And we formed kind of a little committee what to do with the money, and someone came up with the idea for solar panels. The second half of the money, about $50,000, was through a government grant through Massachusetts Technology Collaborative, which is, so we're working on securing that now. That's kind of how it came about, really. The money was there, it's a good idea, so we went ahead and did it.
So this encourages us to contribute to that fund as taxpayers.
It should, and it's not the only thing you do is put solar panels somewhere. There's, geothermal systems are starting to come into their age. Also, with funding, I think recently they started talking about getting an energy officer for the city, which was a previous position, but due to budgetary constraints, they hadn't filled, for years now. And now that we got some extra money, we're looking at maybe hiring a guy part-time to, keep everything moving in the direction we want to go.
And I understand that the new senior center is going to be an alternative energy source as well.
Yeah, they got a geothermal pumping system. Yeah. eliminates the need for a gas-fired or oil-fired boiler altogether.
Wow,
So,
that's great.
yeah.
So we're on the roof here now where the solar panels are. And can you just tell us a little bit about how it was, built and how it's set up and everything?
Sure. Essentially what it consists of is it's 33 panels. They're all about 300 watts apiece. Watt-hour system, or 10 kilowatt system. It's a ballasted system, which means it's not actually fastened to the roof. They're all linked together and kind of their own weight holds it down. They're not quite at a perfectly optimal angle, but it's the best we can get away with the wind loading and things of that sort. At the end, we have a data acquisition system, which monitors, wind speed, sun intensity, things of that sort, and routes it down to a little box that interprets the data, and we look at that as well.
Now, I noticed with solar panels, they're usually set up like, rows like this. Is there a difference between doing that or having, one huge one on the roof?
I think it's just the way they make them. It's more cost effective to build them in this arrangement and kind of connect them, opposed to building, and transporting and all those type of things. So, I mean, they're stationary; they don't move. Ideally, granted we're facing north and the way the sun rises from the east, they could be a little more optimal. If they're at maybe a 45-degree angle or whatnot, that'd be much better. But like I said, with the wind loading, that's kind of as far as we could get away with it.
Do you know if they ever make them so kind of they move with the sun? Do you think that would be more efficient?
Yeah, it would be. When the application permits that, you could do that. Absolutely. And this is really, kind of as good as it gets for the location we have here.